Hey there, welcome back to What the Flick. Christy Lemire, Alonso Duralde, Matt Atchity. We've got some movie news for you now, starting with Stranger Things Season 3. I'm very excited about
TV
this.
news.
TV, oh yeah, that's a TV show.
But also movie news.
But it's movie news,
Movie
and I'll
reference
tell you
news. You're
why.
right, sure, fair enough.
Because it does very liberally and frequently borrow from a lot of classic 80s movies. And this time, the one they're going to borrow from, apparently, for Season 3 is Fletch. I'm kind of, yeah, why not? I don't know how you're gonna put Fletch into this Spielbergian kind of world the Duffer Brothers have created here with kids on bikes and, you know, VHS tapes and nostalgia. Where do you get Fletch into this world? I don't know.
So it sounds like Jake Busey's gonna be playing this reporter character who is based on the Erwin Fletcher character, you know, kind of fast-talking, undercover, sardonic, sick sense of humor. I can only imagine, though, in a Duffer Brothers production, that he gets eaten by something by the end of it. Like,
oh no!
I mean, you have to imagine, right? Like, Fletch is not good. I mean, like, sure,
they did
Fletch
it to Sean Astin.
Right. I mean, look, like Fletch can crack jokes against, say, something like The Predator, but in the end, that's only going to get him so far.
Yeah, but I kind of want to envision like that he and like Dustin are enjoying some snappy banter. That
I'm really hoping for a Harold Faltermeyer score.
Oh, yeah. So is Fletch a movie that you guys love? Because Fletch is the movie that we quote around our house all the time. Like if it's ever a steak sandwich anywhere, we'll say I'll have a steak sandwich
and a Bloody Mary and a steak sandwich.
Yeah, and put it on the Myers bill.
I kind of do. Like I get why people don't like it. Sort of smug 80s-ness, you know? But yeah, it's a movie I've quoted ever since it came out, you know, well, for God, Don, who is it, Mr. Sinlinden, you know? Yeah, it's a funny movie, I like it.
Yeah, so the reason we know all this is that there's an article in Collider saying that David Harbour, who is the police chief of Hawkins, Indiana, explains what one of the influences might be. He's saying the Duffers are so specific each year with the movies, and Fletch is one movie we get to play around and have some fun with this season, which you wouldn't expect from Stranger Things, and you wouldn't expect from the Spielberg universe, and you certainly wouldn't expect from a darker season. So yeah, but they've already kind of teased a lightness and a playfulness to this season with the little teaser trailer they did with the fake ad for the Hawkins Mall. Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
They did like a fake commercial for Hawkins Mall, and it's like really bad wipes and like cheesy graphics, and it's Steve wearing like a little hat, and he works at the ice cream counter.
Oh, it says Ahoy.
Yeah, it says Ahoy. So I mean,
are you a Fletch fan?
I am a Fletch fan. I mean, you know, it's not my favorite movie of all time. It's fine. I think it's fun. There's some good bits in it.
We love Fletch.
I've read the books.
We have a signed poster, a Chevy Chase signed poster of him when he is like pretending that he has the fantasy of himself playing for the Lakers, and he has the afro. We have that. It's in our bathroom. Tells you a little bit about what life is like at my house. So they're in production right now, the third season of Stranger Things. We will definitely keep track of this show for you because it's a thing that I actually like that's on television, so we're gonna talk about it. Also, speaking of television, HBO is indeed going to air Watchmen. So this is what, like a TV series version of Watchmen?
Yes.
I like how you guys both take these deep breaths in and go, like it's super annoying to have to ponder a Watchmen series. I thought you guys would be excited about this.
Okay.
No.
I was a huge Watchmen fan back in the day. I wrote my senior thesis about it when I was in college.
Really?
Because it was brand new. It was 1988, you know, when it was wrapping up. I know.
Wow.
And then we had the Zack Snyder movie, and then, you know, decades have passed, and it's like, yes, there's a lot that's great about Watchmen. There's a lot that's, you know, maybe a little problematic fave about Watchmen now. And, you know, granted, I think it would have always benefited from more real estate. Like Terry Gilliam once said that he basically figured out that he couldn't do it in less than 12 hours, and that's why he dropped out of trying to make a movie of it. So this is an HBO limited series. Obviously, it's not going to be tethered to the original. It's going to be sort of set in that world. I'm a fan of The Leftovers, so I like Damon Lindelof, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think this could be interesting. To me, one of the bigger problems that happened with the Watchmen film, over and above that it's Zack Snyder doing it, is that the idea of deconstructing the superhero trope, they were a little late to their own party, right? Watchmen comes out in the mid '80s, right around the time that Dark Knight Return comes out,
right.
And it's the first notable time that you've got a couple of different writers really doing this kind of look at the whole concept of what being a superhero would do in a real life situation. And there are these really really dark but interesting takedowns of kind of the whole idea. And then you don't see them show up in the movies till really it's far too late. And by that time, people have already started messing with that, not the least of which was Batman Begins.
Sure,
right?
And also it did, both of those comics that you mentioned sort of started the whole grim and gritty wave,
Right.
which by the time the movies got around, it was like, okay, yes, this is not
We've
subversive
seen
anymore.
this.
Everything is grim and gritty.
So could it be interesting if you're doing, what would superheroes be doing in a political landscape like we have today? Sure, that could be interesting, but it's hard to think that with a production that big, they're not going to be so far behind the curve, right? Because you're looking at probably what has to be a year, 18 months out from the time that you're really coming up with concepts to writing things. And so you're either trying to be predictive as to the stories that they're gonna try and tackle, or you're just off in somewhere else. And in which case, if you're doing your own original stories, then come up with an original idea.
Well,
That's a little bit where I'm coming from.
Maybe. I mean, what I find interesting in this is that Regina King is being sort of touted as one of the leads, and there's only one black woman with any dialogue in Watchmen, and that's like the psychiatrist's wife.
Yeah, and you
So,
almost wonder
obviously
Is she playing somebody different? Maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think they're going to play around with it, and it's not going to hew exactly to the original material.
Right. Well, Damon Lindelof said in an Instagram post that this is going to be contemporized a bit, and that the original Watchmen was very specific thematically to the 80s, as you
Yes.
say, to Reagan and Thatcher, and now this is going to be, as he says, ours needs to resonate with the frequency of Trump and May and Putin and the horse that he rides around on shirtless. So this is going to be, so maybe they are messing with the characters or adding new ones or tweaking them to make them more reflective of our world. So perhaps that's what's happening
and it could be
here.
something, the original one is this world in which Nixon had continued to be president for a long time.
Because
so,
we won Vietnam.
Right,
And,
so maybe the idea is, oh, well, Trump keeps getting elected and he's on his fourth term and, what would that world be like?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing with Lindelof, like with The Leftovers, the first season that was based on a book specifically, and then they did the whole book in season 1, and then they were sort of on their own to kind of expand that universe. So maybe this is like Watchmen starting at season 2, where we're like, well, okay, let's just assume we did the book, but we're still operating within those parameters. And now where do we go with it? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out in 2019, and among the cast that had been announced previously, Tim Blake Nelson and Frances Fisher, Regina King, as you mentioned, Don Johnson, Lily Rose Smith, so Louis Gossett Jr. So it's an interesting cross-section of the world, but it seems like tonally it will be very different from the Zack Snyder Watchmen. Aesthetically.
I suspect we will be recapping it, but it's early to say.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a good what the flick kind of thing, but who am I to say? I can assign you guys things randomly. Here,
I don't watch television.
one more
Look at this
TV
for me,
show.
yes.
You have all day. Speaking of having all day, Netflix thinks you have more time, actually, because they're going to stick ads in your shows. You think you can just sit around on your butt on the couch and binge watch to your heart's content and just like be unobstructed by commercials, but no. They are now beginning to experiment with sticking little ads in between the different episodes. Now, have you guys experienced that yet with Netflix?
No.
I have not.
Okay.
I don't binge a ton, although this weekend I did catch up on all The Break with Michelle Wolf since they canceled it.
Oh, right, no more.
Just in time.
It's unfortunate.
I know. Maybe it's my fault for not keeping up.
But it's promos for their own shows.
Yeah,
Right.
they're all house ads. It's not like Glade,
You've been on the couch too
Not
long.
yet,
Have some
anyway.
Blade. Yeah, no, it's not like that. But yeah, they're saying, if you like this show, here's more of this show. So anyway, I guess they have to figure out how to function and survive.
I can't blame them per se, but yeah, I'm sure it's going to annoy some folks. Apparently it's in certain areas, so not everybody's getting these
We'll
yet,
keep an
but
eye
you
on
will.
that.